Lesson 2.9, percents. No vocab in this section, so here we go. The percent proportion. You can solve problems involving percents using either proportions or the percent equation, which are closely related. I'm going to show you both of them. If you write a percent as a fraction, you can use a proportion to solve a percent problem. Do not get confused with the percent proportion and the percent equation. I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. So you can represent A is P% of B using the percent proportion shown below. This is the most common one. In the proportion, B is the base and A is a part of base B. So the example, what percent of 50 is 25? So you write the smaller number in the numerator, the larger number in the denominator equals P, because we want to find the percent, over 100. And then you could just use the cross products property to solve for P. Problem 1. What percent of 56 is 42? So again, step 1, write the percent proportion, just the general form. Okay? A is the smaller number of the two. B is the bigger number of the two, the base. Okay, so step 2, we're going to substitute 42 for A and 56 for B. Step 3, you're going to use the cross products property. Step 4, you're going to multiply. 42 times 100 is 4200. 56 times P is 56P. Divide each side by 56. So 75 equals P. So when you then go back and answer the question, what percent of 56 is 42? So the answer is 42 is 75% of 56. This is how you would answer the question. The percent equation. You can also represent A is P% of B using the percent equation shown below. In the equation, A is a part of the base B. So here's the percent equation. So again, the same problem. What percent of 50 is 25? So you would set up A is 25. A is the smaller number. B is the larger number. So you would simplify it as 25 equals P% times 50. And then all you would do is divide both sides by 50. You can use either the percent equation or the percent proportion to solve any percent problem. And later on, you're going to see a beautiful table that explains this further. Problem 2. What percent of 40 is 2.5? So step 1 is to write the percent equation. A equals P% times B. Step 2, remember A is the smaller number, so A is 2.5, B is the larger number, B is 40, substitute those values in. Step 3, you're going to divide each side by 40. So this cancels, actually you're going to divide everything by 40. So 2.5 divided by 40 is 6.25. So step 4 is always to write the decimal as a percent. Actually, if you put that in the calculator, 2.5 divided by 40 is actually 0.0625. That's why step 4 says write the decimal as a percent. If you're changing a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal point to the right 2 spaces. If you're changing a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal point to the left 2 spaces. So therefore, 2.5 is 6.25% of 40. Simple interest formula. The simple interest formula is given below, where I is the interest, P is the principal, and R is the annual interest rate written as a decimal, and T is the time in years. So I equals P times R times T. I is the interest, P is the principal, R is the annual interest rate written as a decimal, that's important, and T is the time in year. You want to know what all these labels are. Example, if you invest $50 at a simple interest rate of 3.5% per year for 3 years, the interest you earn is, so they're asking for the interest. So all you have to do is identify your PRT and substitute those values in and multiply. The initial amount, if you invest something, will always be your principal. Your percent, whatever they give you as percent, that's your interest rate. But you need to change 3.5% to a decimal. So this is what I was talking about before. If you're changing a percent to a decimal, you move to the left 2 decimal places. So that's how you got the 0.035. And T is time in years, 3 years. Multiply those numbers together. The interest you would earn is $5.25. So this is the beautiful table that I talked about earlier. 3 different problems dealing with percent, an example, what it looks like as a proportion, and the equation. So the percent proportion and the percent equation. I personally like dealing with the percent proportion just because we dealt with cross products property. If you don't like that and you like the percent equation, you can feel free to use this as well. This is something that you should have written down in your notes section and with you when we do more problems with this section in class. So let's do some sample problems together, and I'll go back to that table to figure out which problem we're dealing with. So number 1 says, what percent of 84 is 63? So this is where I would definitely want to use the percent proportion. So remember, the percent proportion says A over B equals, I'm just going to write percent over 100. And remember, if it doesn't have percent in the problem, it's looking for percent. So here we're looking for percent. So we need to figure out where we're going to put 84 and 63. Remember, the smaller number is A, the larger number is B. So we would replace our percent proportion as 63 over 84 equals, and I'm just going to write X for percent over 100. And again, you're going to use cross products properties. You're going to have 6,300 equals 84x. You're going to divide both sides by 84. X equals 6,300 divided by 84. Is 75. So you would answer this question by saying, what percent of 84 is 63? 63 is 75% of 84. Let's look at number 2. 30% of what number is 12.5? So let's go back and see what problem that looks like. So that looks like this one, find a base. So it says 30% of what number is 12.5. So it's asking you for the base. So that means we're looking for B. So that means that 12.5 is our A and 30% is our percent. So again, if you like the proportion, this works with every single problem and makes it very clear. So we're just going to write A. Actually, we're looking for B, so we're not going to write A. Going to write 12.5 over B equals 30% over 100. Again, if you use cross products, you're going to get 1,250 equals 30%. 30B, excuse me. And if you divide both sides by B, by 30, you're going to get roughly 41.66666 repeating equals B. So to answer this question, you can say 30% of 41.66 is 12.5. Let's look at one more together. So let's look at a simple interest formula. So this problem, I equals PRT. So it says you deposited $840 in a savings account that earns a simple interest rate of 4.5% per year. So we know that we deposited $840 and the interest rate is 4.5% per year. You want to keep the money in the account for 4 years. How much interest will you earn? So of these 4 variables here, we are solving for I. So we need to figure out what are P, R, and T. Well, P is how much you initially deposited. That's $840. Your interest rate, remember, we have to turn 4.5% into a decimal, so move the decimal point over 2 decimal places. So 0.045. And how many years? T is equal to 4. So I want you guys to finish this problem off. Okay? So substitute 840, 0.045, and 4 for PRT, and tell me how much interest will I earn if you did all of this. And that's the question I want you guys to come in tomorrow ready to answer.